This episode of the All About Nothing podcast is sponsored by listeners like you and Big Media LLC, encouraging you to check your voter registration. In a world where every voice counts, ensuring your registration is accurate and up to date is the simplest, most effective way to guarantee your vote is heard. Don't leave your participation to chance. Take a moment today and verify your status and stay ready for the next election by visiting theallaboutnothing.com/voter.
Hey, it's Zach from What the Pod Was That and the All About Nothing podcast. And America's birthday is coming up faster than we can track. Celebrate Independence Day in style with ZJZ Designs' latest t-shirt collection on TeePublic. Introducing 3 brand new 4th of July heart designs that perfectly capture the spirit of America. These shirts feature vibrant, patriotic colors and unique heart-shaped designs that stand out at any celebration. Whether you're heading to a fireworks show, a barbecue, or just enjoying the summer sun, our 4th of July heart collection has something for everyone. Show off your love for the red, white, and blue with ZJZ Design. Visit ZJZ Design's TeePublic shop today and get ready to shine this Independence Day. Links in the show notes or visit ZJZDesigns.com and check out all the great designs. New designs come up often. ZJZDesigns.com.
The All About Nothing podcast may have language and content
that isn't appropriate for some. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, Nothingers, to the All About Nothing podcast. This is episode number 311. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me across all social media at Barrett Gruber. Please subscribe and share the show. That's how we get new listeners. Also, please consider supporting the show financially by visiting theallaboutnothing.com and becoming an official Nothinger. We'll have more details on that at the end of the show. If you can't do that, please give us a 5-star review, a like, and follow us across social media. You can find links at theallaboutnothing.com. Today, we've got a special guest joining me, and before we get into anything else, I want to remind everybody that this, of course, is our monthly book club episode, so that's right. This month, we are diving deep into Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States, and who better to break down this 600-plus page book of bottom-up American history than tonight's guest, a man who has personally registered thousands and thousands and thousands of voters. He's flipped seats from red to blue, and has also been called a political magician of Southern politics, Mr. Brandon Upson.
Bro.
Look, I got to tell you, when I found out that you were an 8th generation South Carolinian, Army combat veteran, and founder of not one but 2 grassroots political organizations, I thought, this man doesn't have time to read Zinn just for fun. I mean, there's no way. So, no, we're not doing book club night tonight. I'm sorry to disappoint the 3 of you that showed up for that. We are going to discuss with Brandon what is actually going on here in the state of South Carolina, which includes breaking down the results of the 2026 South Carolina primary. With the runoff just 3 days, from the time of this episode, a few days away, June 23rd is coming up. And honestly, given what Brandon does for a living, he might as well have written a chapter of a people's history himself with the work he's doing to mobilize Black voters and organizing working class communities across the state. So, Brandon, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me the second time.
Yeah,
twice in 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely. On a roll. How are you?
Man, I am great. Yesterday, I involuntarily slept for like 10 hours.
I don't even know. I didn't realize human beings could sleep for 10 hours. That doesn't make sense to me.
I could not help it. I couldn't keep my eyes open yesterday. It just all finally crashed.
Yeah.
So we're up and running today.
Great. Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now, because we'll get into the meat of the show here in just a minute, but tell us everything, because you now actually have working space in Columbia. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Man, so we are here at the SCEA building, the South Carolina Education Association. They gave us some space that we can run our operation out of. I'm here right now in the office right off of Sunset Boulevard. We need space to have our teams, our headquarters and our brains trust. But most importantly, as we get into the summer here, we're going to need more space for volunteers to take place. Just with Jermaine Johnson alone, nearly 800 people signed up to volunteer for his campaign on election night.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Since election night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So folks are excited. We have a strategy on how we can find some and utilize some space to support that type of excitement. But folks are excited. They're ready to get to work, and we can't allow not having space to do it to stand between us and them engaging their neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to create any rumors, but is there the possibility that Brandon P. Brown may be considered for lieutenant governor?
So, you know,
Because I would love for him to be my lieutenant governor.
man, let me tell you, Brandon P. Brown is a great man.
Yeah.
He received more votes than Billy Webster did on election night. Billy Webster, who spent over $3 million, Brandon spent about $300,000 and garnered more votes. It was an amazing election. Annie's team, I got to shout out Bree Spalding, who's her campaign manager. She did all the right things, and we were able to add pretty much 6 candidates on the ballot for the primary, and we won 5 of 6. Unfortunately, Brandon didn't make it, but he is still an integral part of how we're moving forward. We have some stuff that we're going to be announcing soon through his Substack and through his channels of how he's going to be supporting the slate of candidates who are moving forward. I'm not sure if we'll see him on this ballot in November. I will not say yes or no, but Brandon's not done. I know that much.
Yeah. And absolutely, I'll put links to his Substack so we can make sure people go check that show notes. So, all right,
Awesome.
We'll get into it. Big picture, walk us through what stood out most to you on primary night. Any results that genuinely surprised you?
Oh my goodness. A couple of things. One, just how quickly Jermaine Johnson's race was called.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going to go well into the night for Jermaine's. I thought that I had 3 battles on my hands. We had 3 battles on our hands, right? We had Brandon Brown, which we were praying for a runoff.
Yeah.
But we knew it was really tough. We saw the tea leaves in that last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Jason Belton, who I knew it was going to be close, and Vincent Coe.
Yeah.
Because Vincent Coe, he's running against the former chairman of the South Carolina Democratic Party, Trav Robertson. So we were tracking and trying to overwork in those 3 campaigns. Felt solid about Sylvia Wright. Sylvia Wright, who's running for superintendent of education. Felt solid about Tiffany Boozer. Felt that Jermaine was going to win, but we weren't sure if it was going to be without a runoff or not. So that was, cutting it. And Kelly Williams, his deputy campaign manager, she was really all on top of the numbers for Jermaine. He had really good guidance and infrastructure with her at the helm over there. But the surprise, we didn't get the final results for Jason Belton until the next day.
Oh,
The brother won with 4,031 votes.
That's so close.
Isn't it?
That is so close. Yeah. There was genuinely it like working the polls. Of course, my district is a very red district, but when at the end of the night, when we print off the tape that actually has all of the votes on it and everything else, there was a lot of excitement over the fact that when we looked at the governor's race for the Democrats and saw that even just looking at those numbers, it was about 63% had voted in favor of Jermaine. So I felt like that was a good indicator. And of course I had checked the Kelshi, poly markets before that. And, 5 weeks before the actual primary, he was a 90-something% bet to win.
Yeah.
And then it dropped down to like 63%, which is, even in polling, you see polling equalize a little bit when it comes to races and things like that. Yeah. What about Nancy Mace failing to advance into the governor's race? That was pretty stunning to me.
So, no, I felt how that last leg of the race was going, she had lost all of the wind in her sails.
Sure.
But I didn't expect her to have a 5th place finish.
No.
I definitely didn't expect that. But that shows you that South Carolina can only put up with so much BS from a candidate, right?
Yeah.
And she was letting us have it. Now, which also tells us the candidates who are playing to the lowest common denominator out of the two right now lets us know where we have a better opportunity to win in November. And I'm praying that those Republicans vote the right way on Tuesday. Because, having that person who is most similar to a Nancy Mace, I just hope she gets on her Trump train and rides off into the sunset, never to be heard from again politically.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, she's going to write a book or something at some point. I think I've already heard that she's got a contract with one of the publishers. So that's likely to come. I don't feel like she's out of politics.
Without a doubt. She's what is her name from Alaska? She's going to be the Sarah Palin. She's going to be the.
I can see Russia from my house.
She's going to be our thorn in the butt for the next 4 or 5 years until she fizzles out.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I think that ultimately my fear, but also hope, is that once Trump is no longer, the elephant in the room, that the MAGA party wing of the Republican Party will deteriorate. I mean, it'll slowly collapse in on itself because people will start to look at it and be like, they'll see, eventually we'll have the Epstein files released enough where we can have investigations into individuals that were actually involved with Epstein, and everything will eventually come out fine. But for the entertainment value, Nancy Mace can almost do no wrong as far as I'm concerned, because look, you yell and scream at workers at the Charleston airport because you were late to your flight. And then Alan Wilson sends all the workers at the Charleston airport Waffle House for, come on.
That it was pure entertainment in that Republican primary. Have you ever seen Head of State with Bernie Mac and Chris Rock?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. That scene when Bernie Mac is going through the airport and just slapping people in the face? That was the Republicans' primary election.
It was. It really, really was. And rest in peace, Bernie Mac, one of absolutely my favorite comedians to ever take the stage. Anyway, all right. So let's get into it. You are here because you want to talk, not listen to me. So,
well, we accomplished a lot in that primary election. Like I said, we had 6 candidates on the ballot, and 5 of them won. Now, they didn't win because they were blessed by the kingmakers. They didn't kiss the rings. They
Agreed.
Didn't raise the most money. They weren't the insider's favorite to win their races. But there was a grassroots movement that came together and got these folks elected. When you look at the 6 candidates that we supported, Jermaine Johnson for governor, Brandon Brown for the United States Senate, Sylvia Wright for superintendent of education, Jason Belton for secretary of state, Tiffany Boozer for comptroller,
right,
and Vincent Coe for treasurer. For the first time in our history since 1868, we have a majority African-American slate. How wild is that?
It's exciting. Honestly, it is exciting. To see, like, I've seen pictures, I think, with everybody lined up, and it's like this is your Democratic Party for the general election, and it's like that's, and then for some of the we've got David Robinson and Khalifa. Their campaign will be decided on Tuesday next week, or this week, whenever the episode comes out, but June 23rd. Okay. Both of them. I love David Robinson. I call him a friend. And I can't wait to meet Khalifa, because I think listening to him being interviewed and talking to people in his social media posts, it just, both of them incredibly engaging, and I enjoy both of them very much. So, I mean, just the state of South Carolina could ultimately, at a state level, have so many fantastic people in those seats, and then because they're black is just the chef's kiss to it all.
It is, and what I've been telling folks, we have a exciting, relatable, and overqualified slate of candidates.
Yeah,
that just so happen to be black. We're the only state in the South that has a slate of candidates going to the general election that looks like this, right? This should be national news. Folks should be singing from the rooftops, that something of this magnitude has occurred. But the conversations that I'm hearing, the conversations that are being held in the press about the primary election results, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure I clear up, because I've been bugging the hell out of some of the members of the press because of how they're spinning the results of this primary election.
yeah.
One, I've seen articles that say, hey, Democrats showed up in record numbers in early voting, but Republicans took the day in the primary election.
It's always like that.
But let's compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
The last two elections, and I'm including the presidential, we had less than 250,000 people in total vote in the Democratic primary election.
Yeah.
And then we take that number, and then we go to 371,000 people coming out to vote. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, the Republicans, their jump wasn't as much as ours.
Right.
We nearly doubled our turnout, and they only increased theirs by 20%. And you're trying to say that they have more momentum and energy than we have?
Yeah.
You know what it takes to double turnout?
It's a lot of work to put in.
It is. So, I just want to correct the record, because we're going into the summer, not just with some amazing wins and an amazing slate that people are excited about, but we're going into the summer with momentum. We're going into the summer at an advantage that we have not seen since the late 90s. And we're going into the summer with a coordinated effort that includes, for the first time in a long time, leadership from the grassroots. The only way we could win 5 of 6 elections was to have a grassroots movement that was an example of people power, people using their power, showing that we could decide who represents us, educating each other. Like, we had a slate card that went out, and it went viral a number of times, right? And I was in different corners of the state, and people were printing that slate card out. They had it on their phone. They were on. I was in. Where was I? I was in Newberry, and this woman was in line to vote, and she was calling her daughter, asking her daughter to send her that slate card.
Oh, wow.
Like Brandon Brown, he was over in Mullins, South Carolina, for an event, and they went to the early voting site, and he said they had already printed out and distributed it. So he went from Mullins to Dillon, and they had it in their hands. Jason Belton was in Blythewood, and he said all day when him and Jermaine Johnson were greeting people to come vote, they already had it, and they knew who he was when they walked up. That's the way you organize the grassroots.
Yeah.
And that's the way you actually deploy simple tactics that didn't cost us $1 million. That didn't even cost us $100. Let's be honest.
I don't know, gas right now. It's
gas, right? but that was purely organic organizing
Yeah.
the grassroots, right? And we have to marry grassroots organizing with the big money stuff that the kingmakers normally try to deploy, but it delivers loss after loss, cycle after cycle. So now I believe we have if we're going to win in November, there's no other option but for the kingmakers to come to the table with the grassroots and figure out how we can go forward and move this election forward together.
Yeah. Foot on the gas the whole way.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. And just get out the way. Just let the train roll, baby.
It's going to, that's one of those things that every time I consider, like, I'll get asked if I'll go out and canvass with people. Absolutely. I'll do it. But like, it's so hot and we've got a tropical storm coming in here that's going to make it even more. I don't know. I don't think it can get more humid. I know 100% is the top of it, but Trump talks about reducing medical expenses by 600, 700%. I'm like, okay, humidity can get that. That's what it feels like now. Well, so tell us about, like, you mentioned you all took on 800 volunteers to help actually continue this effort.
Yes.
Where can more people sign up to be volunteers? Because I know that we have House candidates that didn't primary, or that didn't have to primary, that are going to be getting their process of campaigning now. I know here in District 88, Jeremy Jones is going to be out there campaigning. So how do candidates need to talk to you all about potentially getting volunteers as well, or getting on the slate?
Right. So we definitely want to go deeper into the elections to create slate cards.
Yeah.
Like we have a slate card for the top of the ticket. We're going to create regional specific ones as we move forward. So now, just think about this. Typically in this type of election, you have the candidates churning and doing their thing, and then the parties doing their thing, and what they do together is called the coordinated campaign, right? That's the party coordinating with the candidates on the ground.
Yeah.
The party is always broke. Broke as a joke.
What are you talking about? They hold that Palmetto dinner. I've seen chicken strips and
there's good chicken strips if you get there early, but 15 minutes in, they're nice and cold, and by 30 minutes in, they're stale. So,
well, you're telling me eat before. That's what I'm hearing.
Eat before you come. Be ready for good conversation.
That's right.
But what the party does is supposed to be helpful to turn out the base of voters, right? So that the campaigns can focus on turning out the people they have to persuade and drag to the polls, right? So now that makes their job, a smaller universe, but it's still a lot of work.
Yeah.
What we're looking to do is have an additional coordinated operation that focuses on motivating the grassroots so that we can do two things: expand the electorate by voter registration and identify those missing voters who are registered to vote but have been sitting out for 3-4 cycles now.
Yeah.
And that is our pathway to victory. Some of the conversation that's being had is whether or not Democrats can even win in November. And the answer is absolutely yes. So I love the numbers. I think we went through some numbers before. But Jamie Harrison got 1.1 million votes in 2020. Harry McMaster, that's big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Harry McMaster won his election with only 980,000 votes in 2022.
Yep.
So part of our pathway to victory is recreating that turnout for Jamie Harrison, but it doesn't mean we have to just use what we got. We actually have 366,000 African Americans who are not registered to vote, but they're 100% eligible to vote. So that's why voter registration is important. We also have another 211,000 African Americans who are registered to vote, but have not voted in the last 3 to 4 elections. So those are our missing voters. That's 500,000 people right there that if we had the right plan and investment, we could go after them and close that gap. But on top of that, the cherry on top for me is that we got about 250,000 white voters in the upstate alone who moved to South Carolina from blue states where they were registered Democrats and they have not voted in South Carolina since they moved here.
How many do you think there might be?
Around 250,000.
So, okay. So because that's one of the big things here in South Carolina is we don't know how many actual Democrats there are or how many Democrats there are loyal to the party that will turn out to vote because they haven't either they haven't registered or we haven't seen them vote in recent time or recent elections so that we can actually have a good count. One of the things that there was when I was standing outside of my precinct, one of the things that a woman came up and asked me, she said, I didn't get any mailers for any of the candidates. I didn't know who was running. And I said, well, when was the last time you voted in an election? She said the last, I don't know, 2016. I was like, that's 10 years. Like you're lucky you're still active because South Carolina will purge those voting rolls for anybody who hasn't voted in the last two elections. But I told her, I said, that's the thing is that if you want to hear from the candidates, you have to vote in the primaries. That is absolutely the only way that if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, regardless, but that's the only way they know you still exist is you voted in the primary. You want to be active. That's your trigger. So, so she voted.
And here's the thing. During early voting, we had 31,000 African Americans who voted early, and that was their first time voting early ever.
Wow.
And also their first time voting in 3 election cycles.
Wow.
That's how much energy and excitement we had building into that primary election.
I mean, and if not for anything, but I mean, Jermaine Johnson is absolutely one of the most, I think I've said this before, one of the most engaging, just friendly people, but you can tell when he talks to you or when he shakes your hand or when there's any sort of like, you see him in social media posts, things like that. It isn't just that he's decided, I want to run for governor.
Right.
It is with the intent of genuinely making South Carolina better for every single person in the state. He may be a Democrat, but his campaign speaks to Republicans that I know. Yeah. I have Republicans that I live, in my neighborhood that have said, and I'm waiting for my Jermaine Johnson sign because I put an order in and sent money to his campaign, so I'm waiting for my sign. But I have people that have said, I don't care if it's Attorney General Alan Wilson or Pamela Evett. Like Jermaine Johnson just seems like he's got more sense to him.
Yeah.
And they're right. Mm-hmm. This could potentially be like, in my opinion, this could be, I know it's going to be a difficult campaign, but with all of the momentum that Jermaine has coming out of the primaries and what feels like just a constant barrage of people talking so well about him. And I sent him a text message the other day and I told him, I said, I think one of what your social media should be doing is the people in your campaign, the volunteers need to go out and they just need to do a profile recording of every single person they can and put together a blitz of literally just saying Jermaine Johnson is me. Like, yeah, because that's who he is. He is all of us. So I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No. You're hitting on it. Like I told you, we have the most exciting, relatable, overqualified candidates that we've seen in a very long time. That is this slate of candidates, led by Jermaine Johnson. He's the top of the ticket. This brother here, I was just with him at a luncheon here in Columbia today, and he came kind of in the middle of the program, but they almost had to stop because people were wanting to get out of their seats to come shake his hand and be near him, know. But yet he's still humble enough to feel like, wow, they want to come see me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
That's the other thing. He almost seems surprised by his popularity, but at the same
Yeah.
time, he doesn't give that away. Like
Yeah.
you can tell he's like, wow, but it's me. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, I'm him. I'm him.
yeah, exactly. Jermaine Johnson is me.
Yeah. But I was talking to some other folks. I did another interview a couple days ago, and they were asking me, you know, what was the win in this primary election? You know, y'all got these folks elected. Now they've caught the bus to November, and now y'all have to, deal with the pathway to victory. But the win for us, Jermaine is a prime example. We all really picked up, I'm trying to find a better way to say it. We all got engaged
Yeah.
when we found out folks were trying to push him out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the win for me is that uh, this created a power shift in our state where the power shifted from the quote unquote kingmakers to the people. Jermaine is literally the candidate of the people.
Yeah.
He spent $400,000 to win his race with 59% of the vote against two other candidates who each spent over $3 million. Now, that's almost $7 million against his 400,000, and they called that race before 9 p.m. on
Yeah.
election night. If that's not an example of the power of the people is mightier than the power of the dollar, that is Jermaine personified.
Yeah.
But
and I was just going to say, just to give people a little insight into what it is we're talking about, during the period of time that candidates were registering, there had I want to call it Death Thursday almost, because it was Thursday night and I started getting text messages from people saying, or I guess it was Thursday during the day is when it really started,
Yeah.
but it was, and I texted you too, but I started getting text messages from people. I'm hearing Jermaine Johnson might not be, he might be dropping out. I hear he's got a speech ready to go. And I'm like, this can't be right. And then I start asking around and it's like, well, what's going on? Well, Billy Webster's entered the race and he comes in with $10 million of his own money promised to spend $10 million on a campaign all the way to governor. And I said, who's Billy West or Billy Webster? Billy West. And I said, so I started looking around and immediately the first thing that popped up was, for me, the most egregious part of Billy Webster's background, which is ownership and partnership and financial gains made from owning one of these payday loan companies.
Right.
And I did a little bit more background and looking into it, he denied that he knew anything about the practices of these payday loans and he got out before he knew exactly what it was. I have a problem with that because even his own company, his own storefronts, I guess, basically, were outside of military bases. They were outside of they were in and around poverty neighborhoods that are extremely low income neighborhoods. Like you don't intentionally put something in places like that to help people out with 16 to 30% interest rates, and if you don't pay it, so I guess so. I started seeing on social media just the barrage of people that just were like, please, Jermaine, don't leave this race. Please, Jermaine, stay in this race. You can win this race. You can win the primary. You can do all. And then Friday morning or Friday afternoon, he puts out a post for him walking on his porch like he does, and telling people I'm staying in this race. And I think it was the following Monday he went ahead and registered as a candidate for governor.
Yeah,
I mean, if that doesn't speak to the fact that the elite in any party shouldn't have any of that control, yes, absolutely. We need people that are part of the good old boy network, like Stephen Benjamin or Bakari Sellers. Like these two individuals, the fact that both of them threw their hat into the ring, not really threw their hat in, but they put through their support behind Billy Webster, really bothered me. Bakari is someone who I look up to a lot. When I was in television and radio, like Bakari Sellers, when he was coming off football, was just absolutely one of those people that you just looked up to and were like, listen to him speak. Like this, he carries weight. But I am so damn thankful that in his early primary voting that he did not carry enough weight to influence people to not vote for Jermaine.
Yeah.
I still love you, Bakari. I absolutely do. And I fundamentally still look up to you. You are one of the kings, but like, come on, talk to me before you make these decisions.
Come on, consult your people first.
That's right.
But again, the people made up their minds and didn't wait on somebody to make up their minds for them.
Yeah.
And that's the victory beyond the numbers. That's the victory, that this is a win for, by, and of the people. And it was a grassroots effort that made it happen. And that grassroots effort has to grow moving forward. You were asking earlier where people can go to join the movement. There's a couple places you can go to help directly with Jermaine. You can go to johnsonforsc.com. You can sign up right there specifically for Jermaine Johnson's campaign. There's also a webpage for the coalition of that slate of candidates. It's anewsc.com. So anewsc.com. You can go on there, sign up to volunteer. You can donate money. That money goes to supporting the entire slate of candidates in a coordinated effort. So they're definitely raising money for that right now actively. And as we move forward, we're looking at having campaign infrastructure in all 46 counties.
Amazing.
A place where you can go and tap in and work with other volunteers and other members of the campaign and the coordinated effort.
How has outreach been in some of the more rural places prior to, like even with Brandon P. Brown, you had you all opened an office across the street from Orangeburg, South Carolina State. And then we had the big kerfluffle with Pamela Evett. Like, did you all see any sort of like traffic when it came to Brandon's campaign in respect to essentially what Pamela Evett had caused?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So there's meetings held by the students in our campaign office while they were planning what they wanted to do in response to Pamela Evett. The students were organizing from the office. They were doing canvassing and making phone calls and doing all the things from that campaign office. It's just, we didn't expect the drop off after the semester ended. 95% of our infrastructure there in Orangeburg went home for the summer, and it was just like perfect timing.
Man.
But
I hadn't even considered that. Like that, honestly, when, knowing that he had an office in Orangeburg and knowing that Orangeburg is, there is a very large Black community in Orangeburg.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me that, because South Carolina State's got dormitories and kids go home for the summer.
They do. But here's the beauty of it.
They come back in the fall.
They come back in the fall. They come back and they will be here for this next election. So, we still have that office space here. That office space is just going to roll into the coordinated effort for this group of candidates here. That's one of our locations. We're just building something that will outlast this election cycle, because we're going to have to. When we win in November, we have to be able to continue winning election after election. Because this year, shout out to the South Carolina Democratic Party for recruiting 124 candidates to run for the state house.
Yeah.
Right. Every single state house seat is being challenged or protected for the ones that we already hold. Right. So that is infrastructure that we're going to have to protect in 2028. Also in 2028, our state senators will be on the ballot. So we're going to have to be able to protect what we have, make gains, because we got to break the supermajority. And we just can't do what the party has done since I've been here for the last 16 years. An election happens, then everything goes away. All your infrastructure goes away. All your data goes away. All your volunteers go away. All your infrastructure just disappears. And then you come back in August of the election cycle and try to rebuild from zero.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to do that. Once we win in November, we have to continue to maintain at least a solid infrastructure that can be the foundation. So at least in the next cycle, we're not starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And Lord, we got 50 people wanting to run for president. So they can help us a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I also wanted to ask you, so our early voting for the primary runoffs, we only had 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. So we're recording this on Thursday, June the 18th. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. What a missed opportunity. And I feel like, and I've brought it up on some social media posts, but what a missed opportunity to not have early voting on Juneteenth. Like it's already, voting should already be a holiday, but to have the opportunity to mobilize for Juneteenth voting just feels aggressively, I can't even think of the word, but it feels like the state made a decision on this and that there was intent.
You know, any opportunity to stop us from having massive participation in our democracy seems like the Republicans take every opportunity.
Yeah.
They even go as far as to create opportunities to stifle participation in our democracy. Even though they're saying, hey, we want to pass voter IDs so we can protect democracy. We want to have ICE at the polling location so we can protect our elections from voter fraud. But yet, when the opportunity comes to make the election day a federal holiday, they don't even let it see the light of day. When we have the opportunity to have a full span of election early voting here in South Carolina, now all of a sudden they don't have enough money to do it, right? But they can find money for everything else. It's just they are walking contradictions to democracy and civic participation. So anytime they say one thing, understand that they are actually doing the opposite behind the scenes. In my purview, if you want our democracy to thrive, wouldn't you want more people to participate in it?
Absolutely.
But yet you're planning to eliminate 200,000 people from our voting rolls by November? The timing of that alone is suspect.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a constant flip and switch. I'm not a magician. But this hand's doing this over here while the other hand's,
picking your pocket.
Yeah, it's such a contradiction because, I think that for the most part, it always seems like the Republican elite, the Republican candidates, they always seem as though their confidence in what's going to happen is they're so confident that it's already set. South Carolina is a red state. This is a state that has ultimately sent a Republican to the White House since after Carter. And they have so much confidence in that since Jim Hodges, like South Carolina can't have a Democrat as the governor. But we've seen states like Kentucky elect Democrats in what is absolutely a red state, and just the likelihood of being able to play, because Kentucky electing a Democrat as governor was a huge surprise to me. I mean, it was a close election, but it was still a huge surprise. I don't feel the same sense of it being a surprise here in South Carolina this year. Like, having our governor's race alternate from the presidential election, I think is a benefit to the potential. And that, I don't know. I know that if something happens and it doesn't happen, and I know it's going to be crushing, and I will be doing this show from Norway. Because I will have given up. Like, the stars are too aligned. Like, and even like when I say stars, I mean like, the stars in the sky, but also just the fact that we have so many significantly, like you said, overly qualified candidates for this election. Yeah. There are too many people that they're not just running as Democrats. I don't see any of them focusing on just being, I'm the Democratic pick. I'm the person that needs to be, outside of primaries and whatnot. But like even during the primaries, it was constantly a focus on bettering South Carolina, where I continue to argue with people that the Republicans in the state have been in power for 23 years, like ultimate power, and have done nothing but made sure that the state declined in every measurable goal, whether it's domestic violence or gun violence or drugs or schools or roads or everything anyone could possibly complain about when they come to visit our state to come visit I am missing the words, but you know what I mean. As a visitor,
here,
they make it so they make it so difficult for South Carolina to look good. I'm constantly watching like national news for not necessarily like the tornado reactions. I'm waiting for the well, we're going to go to South Carolina and talk to, Stan with the microphone, and he's got one of the Republican voters, and, there's 3 teeth sticking out of his head, not necessarily his mouth. But like we have candidates that are so aligned with making everyone's lives better, and we can actually do it. We don't have as many expenditures as some states. And I recognize that South Carolina is one of the welfare states. We take in much more money from the federal government than we actually push back to them in income tax and business taxes and things like that, which indicates to me that for the state of South Carolina, we could improve that. It's not just about bringing businesses here, but it's also about like cutting out some of the things that could potentially harm the state. That are going to create more health problems or more environmental issues, things like that. And right now, data centers is the big fear. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, people do not want data centers here. They don't want Rock Hill to be covered in data centers. Like, I mean, that is the biggest thing I keep hearing about more and more and more. And I had to look into it because I'm concerned. Yeah. I'm concerned, and we have candidates that are talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. These candidates they can talk about solutions because they know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
One of the basic things, Jermaine knows how many state representatives we have that serve in our government. Yeah. Pam Abbott doesn't. And she's been lieutenant governor for 8 years.
I will say this. She took heat for that, but I also do not think that Governor McMaster knows how many representatives there are in the state. I don't suspect he knows. Like, that's a top-down thing. When you as lieutenant governor don't know how many people it is you work in that room with, I gotta assume that's not something that was important to him either.
Yeah. And so I want to talk about 2 of the candidates. One, the one who's running for treasurer, Vincent Coe.
Yeah.
So Vincent Coe is a legitimate banker. This guy is a financial whiz kid. He has over 20 years of financial and banking experience. going to New York and doing the big thing there, coming back home, and now he works at a community bank. The reason why that's important is because not only can he count, but he's proven that he can read with comprehension, and he has integrity, right?
I was going to say, can he successfully dupe the citizens of South Carolina and paying for his campaign by putting himself on the college tuition fund commercials and then signing his name at the bottom? I'm Curtis Loftus, and I
Curtis
am here.
Loftus.
God. I have so many names: Curtis Maybelline Loftus, Curtis Loftus the worst, Curtis Marjorie Taylor Green Loftus. Anyway.
Yeah. So I'd simply call him cowardly Curtis.
This is a man that outright his own party wanted to impeach him, openly discussing with the public and with the press about openly they were doing this. They wanted to impeach him from office for incompetence.
Yes.
And no one challenged him.
Oh, that's a good one. Incompetent Curtis.
Curtis the incompetent. Yeah.
Turn him into a superhero here. I'm ready to print that comic book next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But the man lost almost $2 billion. Well, misplaced almost $2 billion.
Oh, yeah. This was a guy that stood in front of the House, the state Senate, and said, I could write you a check from that account today. He couldn't. He knew he couldn't. He knew in his head, he knew. And so to me, I don't remember if he was under oath for that, but I'd have to imagine he wouldn't just be sitting there and not be sworn in.
Yeah.
But maybe that was the case, but he just flat out lied. Thought he knew where this $1.8 billion was, where it came from, everything involving that. And then, then it turns out, the money actually never existed. It wasn't actually a thing. So what was he talking? What was he going to write a check from? That
Right. It is all a lie. And here's the thing. They make room to cover each other in the lie.
Yeah.
So he was not sworn in for that hearing.
Okay.
So yeah.
So they made sure they knew. They knew.
And I heard you slip and say $1.8 million.
Yeah, $1.8 billion. Yeah.
It was $1 billion. Now, even if it was $1 million, even if it was $1,800 and that involved a Democrat,
right.
How much hell the Republicans would have given us? They literally would have. Someone would be serving time in prison right now for that type of mistake.
Everyone that ran against them from the opposite party that would be at the top of their campaign. This man lost $1.8, $1.8 million, 1,800, whatever. It doesn't matter. This would absolutely be. And what's crazy to me is from the treasurer's office, they have done this huge push lately over the last 5-6 months to really push out some of this extra money that they've had because of claims that never were received or made or things like that. I've had two emails from the state treasurer's office telling me that I have unclaimed assets that I need to claim. So I went and did it. One of them was for $50. One of them was $3.26. They sent me a check.
That's a happy meal.
Not anymore. Not in this economy.
Not anymore, right?
But $3.26. It wasn't even worth the paper that it was printed on. The amount of effort that they had to go through to get in touch with me, to get that money to me, absolute waste of time.
It's incompetence. It shows that he should not be running that office. And I wanted to talk about the treasurer race because I think we have a great chance, more than any of the other races we're running, to flip that seat. And then when you go over to the comptroller, that race there, you got the woman that the department created a specific role to make sure that mistake that Curtis made in the treasurer's office would never happen again. And they identified over 40 deficiencies inside of the treasurer's office. And she's still working that job now. She's in charge from the comptroller's office of fixing every one of those more than 40 deficiencies, and she's gotten it down to the last 4 since she was hired.
Man.
She's already doing the job of the comptroller in that office for, I think she's been there for over 10 years. She is a certified accountant. She knows her stuff. There's no one with the same experience that she has in that office other than the sitting comptroller.
Man, it's such a, it gives you so much hope to know that there are legitimately candidates to run against what is basically just been absolute incompetence for the last 23 years. Like it's I don't know. It's such a, it gives you so much hope is what it is. And like I said, if you don't deliver, I'm going to be crushed. But I'm going to be a part of it too.
It's us.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm going to be a part of it too. I'm not going to let this election cycle go by and not do everything I can for the candidates that would potentially want me to speak or help out in some way. I'll walk neighborhoods. I got neighbors. My neighbor Jonathan is desperately wanting to do a cookout and host some of these candidates in our neighborhood so people can meet them.
Give me a date and time.
All right.
We'll have at least 2 of them there.
Okay, we'll do that because, like I said, he cooks some unbelievably good ribs.
He's speaking to my heart now.
Yeah, exactly.
Good food is my love language, bro. I'll walk.
I'll just tell you, I got invited to the cookout for his birthday. I got invited to the cookout for his birthday, and his uncle, who's only a couple years older than me, sat me down and taught me to play spades. Never played spades before. Still not entirely sure I know exactly what it is I'm doing, but we won, even though our opponent said we cheated. I didn't know how we cheated.
So that's when you know you're playing good. When somebody blames you for cheating and slapping the cards on the table.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of cussing too.
You were literally invited to the cookout.
Oh yeah. I adore my neighbors. I love my neighbors. I appreciate that they are my neighbors because I think that it is, I don't know, it like one of the things that I talk about, like having good neighbors means not having to have fences that prevent your own security. So one of the things I say is that on one side, I have Dominican neighbors who are absolutely just the most wonderful people you'd ever meet in your life. My neighbor Jose is someone, despite the fact our age difference, he's 76 years old and still trying to mow his yard. And I keep telling him, stop doing that. Just let me do it. But amazing neighbor. On the other side is my neighbor Jonathan, who drives a big rig truck to driving the giant cranes that do the construction. Like he drives those all over the country. So he's not home all the time. But I talk about the fact that my fence is, to keep the dog in, we have a chain link fence. But I on purpose, I want my neighbors to be able to see into my backyard because I want them to know that one, I'm secure with them and hopefully they're secure with me, but also because the security of having a good neighbor who's a good friend, or even, you hold them as family, to have that as somebody living next door to you and knowing that your house is probably safer because they're next door and they can see, it's, to me, that's just one of those things that's very important. And, like I said, I've said it before, I live in an extremely diverse neighborhood. It's almost like living in Decatur, Georgia, before Decatur became gentrified, or as gentrified as it is. It's a much, diversity creates nothing but good things. And for us to have a president who is so against it, and his administration, and then Congress just bowing to him because he doesn't like diversity. They don't like diversity. And it's like, look across the Senate. Okay, maybe the Senate's not the best example. Look across the House. There is so much diversity in the state House, the U.S. House of Representatives. I mean, you cannot deny how much better it would be if everyone just worked together. And that's the other thing is about these candidates is that their loyalty to the Democratic Party isn't necessarily something that is what drove them to be candidates. It's the fact that Jermaine Johnson already has a history of crossing lines in order to make making bad bills better. Yes. Brandon P. Brown has worked really hard for decades. So again, I'm pushing for his lieutenant governorship. Or mine. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But like,
hey, we can get you on the short list.
No, don't do that. That's not going to be good for anybody, I promise. But legitimately, we have candidates that aren't campaigning to make Democrats' lives better. They're campaigning to make everyone's lives better, where on the other side, you have Pamela Evitt, who is trying to push for basically all of the same policies that Donald Trump is pushing for. And that's about nothing but divisiveness. Yeah. And that's not anything you get from any of the candidates that are now in the running. I get that Annie Andrews' campaigns have been, or at least her commercials and her social media have been really aggressive towards Lindsey Graham. Fine. But she's pointing out all of the things that he said he would do and didn't do. And he's been in that office since 2001. And it's like, you can't look at Lindsey Graham and say, he's the guy that's going to make things better. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Oh, and at this point, having sat down with Annie and her team, she's on the slate cart now. So
awesome.
Between here and November, we're going to get her to as many of the cookouts as we can.
Awesome.
Because we got to introduce her to the family.
I think, ultimately, I think that's one of the things that would be so good for her as well. Because, one of the things that people have said is sometimes, and it's gotten a lot better, but one of the things that I have heard comments about Annie is that she feels very off, not off. She feels away. She feels, she's pulled back
detached.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Detached is
reserved. Yeah.
But that's gotten so much better over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. Like I've seen it in, she has improved. And we're talking about somebody who was a pediatrician that, like like my daughters, we had our last pediatrician visit because she's retiring. And ultimately there is, it's that one-on-one that Annie was always really good at, but now she's getting so much better at that 1 on 1,000.
Yeah.
And that's vastly improved. So I'm glad to hear that she's on the slate, and that's fantastic. Because I think that takes a lot of pressure off of her campaign as well. That to have this broad coalition to really be pushing for the better candidates to be elected in November. I'm going to stop calling them the Democrats. They're the better candidates.
Period. It's just that.
So again, just to make sure we have everything we possibly could, where can people find more information? I don't want to give out your website without saying at least that there are links there, but BrandonUpson.com. There's this fantastic picture of this very handsome man standing there with his arms crossed.
We're about to update that picture. We just did some new headshots. I got more gray. I got to update it with all the gray now.
Oh my gosh. You're barely 40. Stop it. This is old. This is
no, yours is in like all the right places. That looks like,
no, because here, I'll show you. There's one. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to show you. I'm being completely honest. I don't know if anything back there is gray.
Yeah.
If it is, it's a medical condition.
Man, but yeah, folks, I'm Brandon Upson across all of my socials, BrandonUpson.com. Luckily there's not a lot of us in the world, Brandon Upson, so I got a lot of them first. But with the campaign, again, JohnsonForSC.com is where you can learn more about Jermaine Johnson, who's the top of our ticket. Also, the ANewSC.com is the website for the independent coordinated campaign for the top of the ticket. It's anewsc.com. Go in there, learn more about each of the candidates, be able to sign up to volunteer, sign up and donate as well. But it's going to take all of us coming together to make this happen. We need the help. There's nothing too small, nothing too big. You can come, we'll have it so you can come work with us at a location near you, or you can work from home. And there's like 20 things you can do from home, depending on what you want to do. But we have to get it done. And we know what needs to be done. We'll be sharing that goal during a big training in July. And, just pushing this thing forward. We're about to make it across the finish line. We got to keep you on American soil so you don't leave us on November 4th.
I don't know. There's a lot appealing to the idea that the temperature in the summer only gets to about 80 degrees, where, I mean, you're only a couple miles from me now, but I know we got storms about to roll in here and things like that, but it's the having this tropical storm headed this direction this week has increased the humidity more than my poor little air conditioner can handle. It just shut off too. Anyway, but ultimately, that's the biggest thing is that people volunteering, not necessarily because, not just because we need the numbers, but because people want to go out. And I think that's one of the selling points is it isn't just about being part of it, but you're also getting out there and you're meeting people and you're talking about things that are important to you. And then you find out those things are important to them too. So, that's one of the best thing about canvassing is just getting to engage with people that you never probably would have come across them. I mean, they may be your neighbors, but maybe you only see them occasionally as you're both passing on the road. So, and campaigning or canvassing where you live. That's another big thing is canvassing where you live, because having that attachment to, say, a House rep that's running, like Jeremy Jones comes to my neighborhood, it's different because it's local. It isn't, but I don't know. That's just one of those things that just it feels bigger when it's local and it's personal. So,
and
good job.
The issues that you are facing more than anybody else.
Yeah,
it's all about solutions, and this work that we're doing is the solution to everything that Trump is trying to do.
Yeah.
He's trying to divide us. He's trying to tear down our Constitution. He's trying to make us afraid. And it's easier for you to be afraid when you think you're alone. But when you go out here and you meet other people, you realize that you're not alone. There are actually some badasses out here who got your six, no matter what happens. And now we can be part of the solution together.
Yeah.
And, this is going to be that Rainbow Coalition. There's already groups of Republicans who want to roll up their sleeves and get to work with us. So you're going to see a lot of that coming up. I think this is going to be a defining moment for South Carolina history, and I'm glad we're alive to see it, man.
Well, count me in. I'm there. So
gotcha. I'll get you that yard sign.
Look, I need all the yard signs is what I need. I need flags too. If we're doing flags, I'll buy them. We need flags too. Look, I just want to say, Brandon, I think that you are absolutely one of the most hardworking people I've ever seen in my life. Not just, in respect to everything you do for candidates across this state. You have a family that absolutely adores you. And they're a beautiful family too. I don't know why you deserve it. But apparently
I don't need it.
You've been blessed.
Absolutely.
but I can say I am every time something comes up on my phone with your name on it, or I get a text message from you, it is such a delight. Even when you're telling me your medical conditions, which I just don't understand. You should send that to somebody else. No, I am absolutely so proud of you and the work that you do and everything you've done. And I have to attribute a lot of the success that the candidates in this state have had to your efforts. So
Thank you so much.
Please tell your wife that we still need you for at least another 4.5-5 months.
I know. She's looking at me sideways already, like, okay, I thought this was going to be over.
Well, if you need, you can drop your son off over here. We'll go out and we'll throw the ball. We'll get him ready for the baseball season coming up.
Hey, it's a big season. We're gearing up.
I'm going to tell you this: pound for pound, pitchers make more money than any athlete for the amount of work they do. So pitching is where he needs to go, but no curveballs because that'll mess up his elbow. That's what we got to do.
Duly noted.
Right.
Duly noted. Thank you, brother.
I enjoyed
it.
Brandon, it's been great breaking all this down with you. Before I let you go, though, where can people find information on Amplify Action and New Progressive South?
Yep. So New Progressive South, they can find us at newsouth.com. Amplify Action, we actually sold that. So
okay. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Cancel that.
So,
that's somebody else's.
Yep.
As long as it's not
somebody else's now.
As long as it's not coordinating something bad. But
no, they're still doing amazing work.
That's great.
It's called Winning Strategies now.
Okay.
So they're doing amazing work based out of Mississippi. That's where we need the work done. But again, all my socials, Brandon Upson, across everything, BrandonUpson.com. But most importantly, support our candidates, y'all. I talk too much or ramble too much. It's not about me. It's definitely about them right now. So anewsc.com. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, go vote. June 23rd is the South Carolina primary runoff races. Make the best decision for some of these Democrats that are still in the race. And if you can't do write-ins on the governor race, otherwise I think Big Bird would probably be in there by a lot. But go vote, drag a friend with you. We will catch you all after that. But last message I want to make sure everybody knows to do is go check your voter registration, scvotes.gov. If you live outside of the state of South Carolina, you're not a voter here in South Carolina, you can still check out these websites and make donations to them. You can come visit and walk with us. I'm going to encourage my mom to come this direction and come walk with us. We'll go canvas. But also, you can check your voter registration nationally through theallaboutnothing.com/voter. We do have a form up there that people can go check that out. So
look at you, man.
Look,
I love it.
I can't say we're doing God's work because I imagine he's probably still disappointing me somewhere, but
you're making up for it. You're getting your way into the kingdom here.
I'm trying. We'll see. Look, if it's bound between me and somebody else, take them. It's fine. I'm okay. Eternity somewhere is okay. I'll be all right. All right. Well, that is going to do it. Brandon, really appreciate you joining me. That is going to do it for episode number 311. Again, can't not stress this enough. Go vote on Tuesday. Please. Ultimately, I want to see, I know runoff elections are harder to get people out to. I know that sometimes the weather plays a part of its role in the whole thing, but if you didn't vote early, go vote on Tuesday. Just do it. It takes half a minute, maybe.
Yeah.
It'll be quick.
There's going to be no lines this go round.
There is
just
not.
Go do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Brandon. Links to all of our past episodes, podcast platforms, merchandise, social media are available on our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. And if you think our financial model of giving away free content and entertainment is silly and you're in the giving mood, why not become an official Nothinger and support the show? Members get early access to this episode as well as exclusive content. Visit members.theallaboutnothing.com, or you can find a link on our webpage. You can also give a one-time donation through the same link. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can call and leave us a message, 803-672-0533, or you can email the show at theallaboutnothing.com, or join our Discord server, links found on our webpage. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. You all stay safe, be kind, and
keep your hands to yourself.
The All About Nothing podcast is a product of Big Media and produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow everything Cake the band at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff the producer for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the producer. You can follow me across social media by visiting Linktree/Barrett Gruber. And you can follow Zach King on Linktree/AANZach. Want to support the show? Visit our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available that give you early access to to episodes as well as exclusive content. To find links to our social media, podcast platforms, and merchandise to support the show, as well as past episodes, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can email the show at theallaboutnothing.com, or you can call our number and leave a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our sister shows. What the Pod Was That with Carrie, Zach, and myself. Welcome to Wonderland with Ami. Politically Speaking with Erica, Kirsten, and Emily. And Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jameel Brooks and Bill Kimbler. Please subscribe and share this show. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and punch that notification bell. Thank you for listening, and hear us next week. The preceding podcast is solely owned by the host or hosts and is distributed by Big Media, LLC. Copyright 2026.
Well, you've made it to the end. You survived the rambling, the tangents, and whatever nonsense we just subjected your ears to. Congratulations. Now that your brain is sufficiently scrambled, how about doing something productive for democracy? Before you go off to forget everything you just heard, do yourself a favor and double-check that your voter registration is actually legit at theallaboutnothing.com/voter. It's about the only way to make sure your vote counts, even if your taste in podcasts is questionable.